9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We are finally seeing some sunshine, would you believe? Actually, I saw a little bit yesterday afternoon, but it was still very chilly. And not only is the sunshine back, but y'all, she's back. Da da da!
I'm here! Hi,
Carlene
everyone.
Bragg.
Hello.
Carlene, our extraordinary
Hello.
producer for
I
the
have
stream.
Thank you.
Bringing back the sunshine. We
Tried
missed you.
to.
Nice.
Tried to,
Yeah, as it
missed
just says,
you.
there's been a variety of characters sitting in that seat. So
I came back and it's cold, so I was like,
You kind of left
Maybe
at a
it
good
was me.
time because you were in Florida
Right.
when we had that cold spell.
yeah.
Rainy, dreary,
Yeah.
cool, not
Oof.
cool, cold.
yeah,
Downright chilly. We had some
Yeah.
weather alerts going on.
and it's going to be even colder come Monday.
Oh.
Yeah,
so-
we are talking.
Welcome
so go ahead and welcome back.
Yeah, so the coldest temperature we had in 2025 was back in mid-January. We hit 18 degrees. We're going to be around there come Monday morning.
All
so
right.
just letting you know.
Welcome.
But there's one word to describe today, and I am a fan of alliteration, so let's do it. Welcome to a windy Wednesday, or even a warmer and windy Wednesday. Now, this wind is out of the southwest. That's what you want. So each and every day, today, once per hour, over on WCNC Charlotte. We do the one thing you need to know, and that was the biggest thing that I want everyone to know about today: the winds. The biggest problem that we have in our weather apps, weather forecasts, is you don't account for the winds. Because as you know, you can look at the surface and see a forecast for today. Here, let's actually pivot graphic-wise. I'll show you the afternoon. So if I showed you this afternoon forecast, just plain and simple, 53 with the sunshine and clouds, that's not too bad. Well, if you don't factor in the winds, where they're going to be sustained anywhere from about 12 to 17, gusting up to 30 to 40 miles per hour, you're not realizing that it's actually still feeling like a range of the 40s, could even feel like the upper 30s per wind gust that gets up to 40 miles per hour. And you will have some periods of sunshine, but the winds are going to be a big difference, especially when they pick up, especially when those larger branches are really swaying in the breeze. So I just want everyone to really account for the winds today. That's the one thing. You can tune out if you want for the rest of my little weather forecast here, as long as you know that it's going to be a windy day today, because it's also almost Christmas. A lot of people doing last minute decorations, where that is going to be problematic for some as well. 42 degrees right now. That's the current temperature around Charlotte. We have 38 degrees closer to the Lincolnton area, and then 34 right over in Statesville. And if you flip the script over here, factoring in the winds already, 35 degrees is what it feels like around Charlotte, and 27 degrees right around Statesville. Now our highs today getting up to about 53 degrees. That's awesome. We're back to the 50s, and we're just shy where we should be. Should be about the mid 50s, but hey, close enough. And at times I think you're going to have some more clouds than others. And here's a closer look at that wind forecast over the next 12 hours. Winds out of the southwest promote a warm up, so that's exactly why we're about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. And this on and off gusts up to about 30 to 35 is going to be pretty prevalent. Luckily, when you're above 50 degrees, the wind chill isn't as jarring, but certainly it is going to make you feel a whole lot cooler. So what are we going to do today? I would really make sure that any of the I was about to say Halloween, any of the Christmas decorations that you have are definitely going to be hunkered down, because you are going to see a lot of these blowing all over the place as we work our way through the coming hours. And I would say, especially for the afternoon, it's going to be anywhere from about noon to 5 that we have the strongest winds. So inflatable alert, I'm not talking about weather alert. That's where we're almost down the street status. So you have the big Santas, or I feel like the Minions are always out there with some sort of theme.
The Grinch.
The Grinch will be out there. Yeah, there's a viral video actually that there was a Grinch inflatable dancing in like a blizzard, and it was excellent. But just letting you know, if they're not hunkered down, because actually it was at Halloween, we had lighter winds than this. One of my neighbors down the road had one of those big Dracula minions. Well, it was blowing down the road, so we had to go get JT. Was, you won't believe what's happening, right? Yeah, it was just like, where are you going? So just letting you know that's going to be a good possibility. We don't have a wind advisory here, but there is one for one county. That is around Avery County. The National Weather Service barely put them there, with gusts up to 55 miles per hour and a 20 to 30 mile per hour wind. That's substantial, because that's going to lead to some blowing snow. And I'm not talking about what just fell. A lot of that's already starting to ice over. I'm talking about the new snow that's coming. So our winter weather, we don't have anything to worry about east of the mountains. That's going to be on and off clouds, a windy day, staying dry. It's a wintry mix that's going to be followed by an all snow event and blowing snow starting as early as this afternoon. And I have a general window from about 1 till tomorrow morning. So it's really 1 o'clock today until tomorrow morning that we're going to have this winter weather advisory until about 10 a.m. Let me see. I just want to double check something that just came here. Yep, nope, 1 p.m. until 10 a.m. So somebody changed my top banner. I was like, well, it's going a little bit more than late tonight. Our snowfall potential, we have 1 to 3 inches of snow that's going to be following right around the Banner Elk, the Blowing Rock area. But I think it's above the Banner Elk height. So Banner Elk, I think you're going to be right about that 3, maybe even 4-inch mark. But it's going to be like Ginger Cake Mountain, Sugar Mountain, Beach Mountain that have a chance at 3 to 4, even 4 to 5 inches of snow when this is all said and done. 'Tis the season. You have a front that moves through. The snow pretty much makes itself because of what's called orographic lifting. Becca did actually a great weather IQ on that a little bit earlier today. But the main thing for our futurecast, it's going to be on and off clouds throughout today. So at times it will look a little bit cloudier than others, and other times it'll look a little bit sunnier. So just keep that in mind. I think tomorrow is more wall-to-wall sunshine scenario scenario for most of the day. But here it is. This is 4 o'clock. At this point, we are starting to see a wintry mix starting to work its way in. So I think anywhere between about 1 to 4 is where we have the wintry mix. From 4 to 8 o'clock, we're starting to transition that over to more of an all snow event. So literally, you could have sleet, rain snow mix and rain all in a short period for some parts of the lower elevations, but it's really from about 6 to 8 and then 8 to about 4 a.m. that you're going to have some pretty persistent snow. It starts to get a little bit lighter as we work our way into tomorrow morning, and by the afternoon it's kaput. But if you focused on the Charlotte area, you don't really even see too many clouds roll through. But I am looking at something curious on Friday morning. So Friday early morning, you could have another dusting of snow up in the mountains, but some of it's trying to sneak its way around the I-40 corridor. So areas like Rowan County, Northern Iredell County, Alexander County, you might see snowflakes. I don't think it's going to amount to anything, but literally some flurries could start to work its way through. Charlotte, yet again, will miss out. Over the next 4 mornings, we're just above the freezing point this morning. This morning we dropped down to 33. Winds out of the southwest definitely helped us out. And we're going to have a very similar scenario for your Saturday, because that's going to allow us to get up to around 60 degrees. And then on Sunday, we are starting off very warm, but Sunday is going to be weird. Sunday, I have a low of 48, but I have a high only in the lower 50s. So what's going to happen is we are going to see a steady decline, I think, for our temperatures throughout the day. So today, lower 50s, mixed cloud and sunshine. Winds are the main thing for today. Our weekend forecast, there's one day that stands out. That's Saturday. Saturday is the pick of the weekend, pick of the week by far. It's the warmest day. We also have an ample amount of sunshine. I think the winds pick up, but that's the reason why we are so warm. And then Sunday, whenever you have a difference of only about 3 degrees, it's usually one of two things. It's either super cloudy, so you don't have a lot of sunshine, but if you're seeing any sunshine and they don't really move too much, that means that a cold front's moving through and temperatures are actually falling throughout the day. As of right now, it looks to be scenario number 2, that I think we could hit our high temperature around noon, and then we actually get a little bit cooler throughout the day, and then we're really seeing a big tumble of our wind chills. That I have a wind chill value of about 13 at its lowest on Monday morning. So it depends on what those winds are going to do. Feeling like 21 on Tuesday, and other than that, just very cold throughout the weekend. So I just want everyone to know that it's really Monday that stands out from all the rest. That's the big blast of winter, starting at 20, ending at 38 degrees, and then we should have a nice little come up, about 50 degrees on Tuesday. And looking at the long-range models, it's kind of cool. It looks like we could have a decent warm-up by day 8 to 14. That brings us up to around Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, as of right now, I don't have the models here, trending to be either in the 60s or even near 70 degrees.
Yes.
And the one stat that I brought up yesterday is that we've hit 70 plus on Christmas Day 6 times. We've only had a measurable snowfall 4 times. So you're more likely to be in the 70s on Christmas than actually having a white Christmas.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we are fans of that.
Yep,
over here.
palm trees.
Yep.
And ornaments.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Sunshine.
And
all the lights.
typically, there's a lot of times online you're going to see a lot of hype things. I don't like to forecast that far out because a lot can change.
Right.
But one thing with temperature trends, it's a little bit easier because you can kind of see where the jet stream go in the different pieces. It's whenever you see the online hype or like 20 days out snowstorm, don't believe that. Even 7 days out, sometimes that can be a lot of hoopla. But oftentimes the Climate Prediction Center, for instance, puts out the 8 to 14 day outlook. And here, actually, we'll show it to you. The 8 to 14 day outlook has the whole western side of the United States under a, hey, it's going to be warm. So that's picking up that you have a ridge in the jet stream, so we're not borrowing that cool Canadian air. Well, that moves east. So that's why this 8 to 14 day outlook is trending warm. That's why it's also going to translate to a warmer Christmas is all. At least it's not going to be like what it is on Monday. So it's a little backwards for maybe a lot of people want.
All right. Got to deal with Monday.
No cool Canadian air.
No cool
needs
Canadian air. We don't need it.
We don't need it.
We
Yeah.
get that on Monday.
They even escaped their own cool Canadian
I know.
air.
Yeah, and, well,
They're the snowbirds.
the
The
problem is
originals.
when we have the Canadian air, they're getting Santa Claus air up in the North Pole. So yeah.
All right. I
Love
guess,
you, Canada, but you can keep it.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Of course.
And we will be back here in the Live Impact studio in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us on WCNC Plus. Back now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal, and as we take a look at the country's economy, Alice Barr from NBC in Washington covering President Trump's vision of the economy to a crowd in Pennsylvania. That happened last night. Also, the Fed is expected to lower interest rates, something that the president has said should have happened sooner than later. Alice Barr with the latest now from Washington.
President Trump in battleground Pennsylvania overnight for a campaign-style rally focused on the economy and a new rallying call.
Lower prices, bigger paychecks. We're getting inflation. We're crushing it.
That as recent polls show voters unhappy with stubbornly high prices and unsatisfied with the president's progress to bring them down, while in a new interview he gave himself high marks on his economy.
A plus.
Sure, yeah.
See, that's even laughable.
NBC's Garrett Hake asked Pennsylvania voters for their take.
The prices in here are crazy, but like I said, the 401ks are going up. You know, so it's a mixed bag.
If the election were tomorrow, would you vote for him again?
No.
Because of his affordability?
Right.
Big picture, gas prices are falling below $3 a gallon on average, but grocery prices are up more than 1% since January, hitting staples like beef, orange juice, and coffee hard. President Trump laying the blame on Democrats and his predecessor.
We're repairing 4 years of disaster.
As the road to next year's critical midterm election starts heating up with control of Congress on the line. Overnight, another victory for Democrats projected to win Miami's mayoral race for the first time in nearly 3 decades. The race focused on affordability, shaping up as the central issue for voters. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Looking at your local headlines here at 9:16 in the Live Impact studio, an exclusive to WCNC Charlotte in light of the latest stabbing on a light rail last Friday. We're continuing to have this conversation about public safety. It ties into immigration because of the suspect that was deported twice. I talked to Sheriff Gary McFadden yesterday about that, and our Ben Thompson talked to Charlotte City Mayor Vi Lyles. This is what part of their interview addressing safety on the light rail in recent days. This is their conversation now on Live Impact News.
Let's talk about violence on the light rail. It's come up again in the last few days. After the death of Irina Zarutska, the city promised more patrols, more security guards. Are we clear yet? Were there extra security guards on the train on Friday night when the most recent stabbing happened?
I do not know the answer to that. That's something that we're looking at. And I think that, again, this is kind of like when you talk about the mayor's role and what I do, this is really in the care of our justice people. I mean, you know, we're Spencer Merriweather, our district attorney, our police officers are looking at this. And I want to say this at the beginning. When we had the most recent initiative or issue, the CMPD were right there and they moved in quickly. There was an arrest quickly. This person is now in the jail. And so I think as long as we continue to do this, we're going to have to think about it differently. But I think that CMPD and everyone that's associated with CATS wants it to be the very best, because the whole idea of us having the ability to have the authority to build out a transit system, it means that we have to figure out how to build a transit system that everyone would want to use, because it's a safe one.
Do you feel like the security on the light rail is currently sufficient?
You know, that's a very tough question to ask, and I say that because, you know, it can go smoothly for a very long time, but when there's one bad apple, you don't know that. And so we will continue to thrive for every possible initiative. So we're beginning already among our population to start thinking about well, what are the designs? I'm really big on this idea for especially uptown as well as the rail system, is that we have to figure out how to create barriers for people that shouldn't be on it. And when we built the first rail line, it was just get up on it and just get on and ride. But now I don't think that that's an acceptable level of safety for our community. And that includes, even uptown in our parking decks. We built beautiful parking decks and people came in to and from work, but they don't feel safe right now. And so what do we have to do? And I'm really high on the idea of let's use all of the tools that we can have, that we can actually have architectural decisions made that might be a bit different. How do we create opportunities for people to build, but to build safety? I don't think many of us thought about you build a house and you just have a house.
It sounds like to me you're talking about sort of the difference between, I think, what they call open and closed platforms. In places like New York City or Washington, D.C., you have to go through a turnstile. You have to pay just to get on the platform. Here, it's a much more open system. People can come and go. And is that what you're talking about? We need to revisit?
Exactly. We need to revisit. If we're going to build new transit lines, and we are going to build one because we've committed that to the northern towns, we're going to have to build one that is already planned as a safe space to be.
Would that include retrofitting blue line stations too? I
don't know if we'll be able to do that, but we really are diving deeply into that conversation, and there will be some kind of assessment there.
The local GOP said that there should be closed platforms, but also that there should be a security guard on every train. Do you see that as feasible?
I think anything that we would do to make people feel safe, we're going to have to do it. And so I don't know the answer to that, but I do think that there will be an answer to that soon.
Oscar Solorzano, the suspect in Friday's case, had been banned from the light rail just a few months ago. Is your understanding there's just not enforcement of that happening right now, or you're not sure?
I think that in most of the situation, it's where perhaps more people that are doing this understand more about how to do it than we understand how they do it. And so that's where I think that we are going to have, again, differences that we have to make, and we need to do it quickly so that when someone that thinks that they've got a plan, that plan is not going to work for it.
The president tweeted the other day, another stabbing by an illegal migrant in Charlotte. What's going on in Charlotte? Democrats are destroying it like everything else, piece by piece. Your reaction?
My reaction is that I think the president has the opportunity to tweet about anything that's done. But for me, my reaction is, what do we do for this city? What do we do immediately for this city? I mean, you probably know our council is looking very hard at what we would do. And so I want to fulfill the idea of safety as a #1 initiative this year.
We talked about it briefly, but I just want to go back to Arena's law, enacted in the last few days, cracks down on suspects in violent crime. So far, in your view, has it been a net positive?
Well, it certainly was a net positive for the person that did what we had in the last few weeks or days. And it has worked in that respect. I hope that we'll not have to do that kind of work, but I think that we very much have to look at people for both criminal, how they live their lives, do they have opportunities, but we all know that mental health is an issue for a number of people in our city. I think that we will continue to think, how do we do this? But we're going to have to put more emphasis on, you must stop right now.
At the time, after her death, you said it was a tragic failure by the court and the magistrates. What's the remedy for that?
Well, the remedy, I think, has come a lot of this with the arena law saying that we now will have people on the trains. We move quickly to do that. I believe that in this situation, even the one that we're dealing with right now, we're going to press really hard on safety with our Justice Department, with our, I don't know if you're aware, we're right now having an initiative with multiple agencies that are safety agencies so that people can go uptown, have a great time, go to see the Nutcracker and all of those things. And we're doing that because we've strengthened the process of other people joining us in this initiative to make sure that everybody feels safe and makes it possible for us to do this new work.
And that was morning anchor Ben Thompson with his one-on-one interview with the mayor. We'll be right back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 9:26 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus at North Carolina's state capitol. Looks like state leaders are meeting right now. This is the House General Assembly. They are meeting a committee on oversight and reform. Let's go ahead and listen in on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Familiar with the book? Nah. Okay. Is making woke kids in your district the mission now?
I'm sorry, what do you...
Is making woke kids in your district the mission now?
I'm not sure what you mean by making woke kids. I mean...
I'm going by what's printed right there in your manuals, what your teachers have written. Is that a mission of the district to make woke kids? You've got a chapter of the book that your employees wrote. Is that a mission of the school system?
The mission of
yes or no?
Mission of our school system is to educate kids at a high level and create learning environments where they feel affirmed and loved. I'm not sure what you mean by making woke kids.
I'm sure you don't. How do you justify teaching 8-year-olds that they are not privileged or oppressed based on skin color?
We don't teach children that they're privileged or oppressed as part of the standard course of study in North Carolina.
Mr. Trice, I want to talk to you about a few recommended books that your district suggests that K-4 students read. First, Santa's Husband. This book tells the story of Santa, his husband, and their life at the North Pole. And I want to assure everyone this is the true story of Mr. and Mr. Claus. Is this approved? Is this what you're telling the children to read? Is this okay in your guidance?
I'm not aware that that book is.
You're the superintendent. You're not aware of what's going on in your school system? You don't know what's printed? It's trash. That's what good that is. Here's a great one here. These are my eyes. This is my nose. This is my vulva. These are my toes. I'm going to read a passage for you out of it. This is for your school. Some boys have a penis, but not all boys do. To always use your manners, may I ask what I can call you? This is damn trash. Pure trash you're putting to these children. And again, here we go. It isn't rude to be nude for 4-year-olds approved by your district. I hope y'all can see what these children, 4-year-olds, are looking at. Nude photos.
All right, y'all, as we listen to this contentious hearing right now on oversight and reform, you can obviously tell Representative Brendan Jones, the chair for this committee, is passionate. There is going to be some colorful language. This is happening live, so we will continue to listen in and show this for you here at the state level, our state leaders here. It seems that their mics are muted here.
Well,
there might
that
be some,
a third-party
not sidebar, but some language that they don't want to go ahead and make public.
If I understand correctly,
we're trying to get that sound
that was
back
off of
up.
our
All right,
website. Right. And so we do provide resources for parents to have conversations with their students about these issues. No, I'm not telling you that. What I said is, as I mentioned, those are books that appear to be linked to a third-party website. Right, and we don't approve all content that is linked off of our website. It's our attempt to work with parents and provide it. Right. As I did not say that.
We could continue rolling videos, but I guess we won't. Mr. Griffin, you claimed this was about protecting LGBTQ students. So I'm going to ask you, protecting them from whom? Their parents?
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
You claimed it was about protecting LGBTQ students. I'm asking you, protecting them from whom? Their parents?
No, sir. We believe in including parents in every decision affecting their kids. They're the most important players in the room.
You've been looping parents out. So in your thought, is a teacher or equality specialist hired by the district, do they know better than the parents of these children?
Parents always know what's best for their children.
Not by what y'all are proposing. Not by your actions, not by what you've done. You've hidden from parents. You've lied to parents. Some black and white, we can keep sharing as much as you want to share. Mr. Trice, why do you think it's okay to place a wedge between parents and child and make it much harder to take a wait-and-see approach? Because as the parent states, your decision, in quote, has real consequences. Where's that letter at?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Why don't I do this? This is a letter. We redacted the names. Let's put it up on the screen. Put this letter up from one of your parents to you, to all the board members. Dear school board members, as the parent of a trans-identified kid, I was shocked to find my child's chosen name on their 8th grade diploma and on a PowerPoint school. We are supportive of our child in their exploration, but the school's hyper-affirmative approach actually places a wedge between parent and child and makes it much harder to take a wait-and-see approach. With the sharp rise of girls who identify as trans boys and the readiness of medical professionals to direct them to gender clinics where physicians are willing to and even eager to begin transitioning kids who might be just exploring identity, all in the name of affirmation. This issue has real consequences. Please help keep parents in the loop so we can support our children and also have important discussions in homes. Sounds like to me that the parent weren't notified. They had to find out on their own. What do you think? What do you think, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. Parents are essential partners, and as we stated, it's important that we follow the law as written. This is the first time that I've seen this email. It appears that it was written to the board, so prior to the day, I had no knowledge of it.
Okay. For both of you, do you deny that encouraging faculty and administrators and children to keep secrets from parents about gender identity is a clear violation of the law and is grooming behavior?
Yes, parents have to be consulted before name and pronoun changes are approved.
We just seen a letter directed to your school board where that was not taking place, so is it now?
As I mentioned prior to today, I had no knowledge of that. I mean, it's certainly something that I would want to look into as superintendent. As was mentioned at the top of our conversation, it's essential that we follow the law as written in SB 49.
Be superintendent, you sure don't know a lot. But anyway, can you show us data, hard numbers that your equality programs have raised test scores, improved the literacy, or closed achievement gaps?
Certainly, we have a long history of working to close opportunity gaps and achievement gaps in our school district. Between the years of 23, 24, we increased third grade reading, particularly among African American students, by 10%. Does that mean that we don't have more work to do? Certainly we do, just as many districts do across North Carolina and the country.
Why are all your economically distressed students performing below the state average?
Yeah, as I mentioned, that's a challenge and something we're working toward as a school district.
Maybe if you quit teaching woke ideology and reading and math, maybe that would help, you think?
I'm not sure what you mean by woke ideology, but certainly reading and math are important.
Will you commit right now under oath to a full and permanent compliance with SB 49, including parental notification of the K-4 instruction ban in policy?
Yes, I always, as a superintendent, commit to following the law. I took an oath to such and will do so.
So, on record, you will comply in full with SB 49?
As superintendent of the Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools, I will follow the law as written.
Okay. So what's your concrete plan starting now to undo the damage that you've done?
I'm sorry, I don't really understand the question in terms of damage. I have not.
You going to rip out indoctrination?
I don't understand the question.
What part don't you understand? I'm sorry. A lot of things I can make you understand is not one. You know that y'all have been indoctrinating children. Will it stop today? Will you take that out of and we just do curriculum, reading, writing, and arithmetic? Take the indoctrination out. Quit trying to make minions of these children. Will you commit today to stop it?
I will commit to teaching the North Carolina Standard Course of Study in the Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools.
Are you going to bring parents back in the fold up front before decisions are made about their children?
Parents have always been involved
they have.
with the
We've seen that in writing.
Children.
What changes are happening right now in your school district to comply?
As I mentioned at the top of my conversation, since 2023, we've always complied with SB 49 as was written in the policy documents that was submitted to the committee and also distributed widely among principals and staff.
I'll come back. Representative Sheets-Zelt, you're recognized for a series of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's hard to know where to start. I've heard over and over and over, we follow the law, we follow the law, we follow the law. But for the last 2 years, is it Dr. Griffin?
Yes, sir.
For the last couple of years, we've heard over and over from your own mouth that we will not follow the law. In January 2024, the school board meeting, you said publicly, my recommendation is that we not comply with the law. We're going to stop here. Pending litigation, we'll reconsider, but we find it discriminatory. And recently you told voters repeatedly that the provisions were discriminatory, and you bragged that your board told the General Assembly, quote, "No thanks, we're not doing this." You called the statutory task of implementing Senate Bill 49, the Parents' Bill of Rights, ludicrous, and you boasted that your district was the only one willing to defy the law. You've called the Parents' Bill of Rights a lot of things, but one thing I haven't heard you say directly is whether you believe the Parents' Bill of Rights is unconstitutional and unlawful. So let's start there. Do you believe that Senate Bill 49, the Parents' Bill of Rights, as it is written, is facially constitutional?
Sir, I'm not an attorney, but the comments that I made recently that you're referring to actually referred back to our long discussion in January of 2024. And when all was said and done at the end of the day, we voted to comply with the law. We did have a lot of nuanced discussion at the board meetings and about this topic in our community. It's an important topic to a lot of people in the local community.
With all due respect, Doctor, I speak bureaucratese very well as an attorney. And I've got nothing but bureaucratic, flimsy language out of both of you today. You say over and over, we follow the law. So let me ask a more direct question. When you say we are following the law, do you mean you are following the provisions of Senate Bill 49 as they are written? Or do you mean we are following the provisions of Senate Bill 49, excising the ones that we believe to be unconstitutional or otherwise unlawful?
We are following it as they are written in Senate Bill 49, 100%. We've been in compliance since then, and we're in compliance today fully.
That is demonstrably untrue. I can sit here, I can even take my glasses off, I can still read that email, and there are other examples throughout the record that we have before us. A UNC study by EPIC, where people in your school district are flouting noncompliance, saying that they are affirming name and identity changes for students without notifying parents, that they're reading inappropriate materials for children under the guise of it not being instruction. You mean to tell me you believe that is complying with the law?
I can say with 100% certainty that we as a district are complying with the law. I can also add,
I can tell you with 100% certainty that you are not, Doctor. And it is offensive for someone to come before this body and say we are complying with the law when there are videos, there are documents, there is a mountain of evidence that you are not, and you are making no effort to try to. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you believe that the provisions of Senate Bill 49 as they are written are constitutional? That is a yes or no question.
I really can't. Again, I'm not an attorney.
If you can't answer that, then your duty under the oath that you took is to follow the law, not to try to find ways to circumvent it, which is what you have been trying to do now for years.
Well, I can assure you, and I guess I'm repeating myself, but we are in compliance with the law and have been.
Isn't that just the theme of today? We're all just repeating ourselves. The advantage that we have on this side of the dais is that we have the evidence. There are receipts that you're not responding to, and you refuse to respond to. All you do is repeat the same line. We are following the law. When this study came out, the EPIC study, where staff members in your district talk about how they are not complying with the law, how they are concealing from parents name and identity changes, did you, your board, launch any sort of investigation into compliance with the Parents' Bill of Rights?
I've been on the board for 4 years, and the question you're asking, none of these issues have come before the board.
Okay, so either then...
Representative Sheets, hold on. Mr. Griffin, I'm going to direct you as chair.
All right, that conversation obviously going back and forth, each party saying that they are 100% correct. We are going to take a break here. We'll get back to that contentious hearing and briefing at our state capitol in a couple of minutes. We'll be right back. At 9:46, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. We'll get you back out to House leaders in Raleigh as they debate SB 49. It has gotten quite passionate at times, the language quite colorful as well. As this is happening live, I just want to give you that fair warning of what we could be hearing language-wise. Also saw there a little bit earlier a box with Governor Stein talking about Medicaid. We will play that back for you in its entirety from the beginning as soon as we let go of the House leaders talking right now on oversight and reform. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
But your mindset and what you told your staff.
If you would suspend 1 second, I think we've got something to help answer your question.
Okay.
Roll that footage if you would, sir. And you're recognized just as soon as the video's over.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, they are obviously looking at some video right now. We'll see if he gets to comments here shortly. Okay, it looks like he has. Let's go ahead and continue to listen in.
There we go.
Well, I'll just put it out there. My recommendation is that we not comply with the law and that we say so cleanly. When it comes to these two parts about the pronoun passage and the identity gender discussion, and we develop some statement that says we're complying with parents' rights law up until this point, and we're going to stop here. Our system works appropriately and well for our students the way we've been doing it. And pending legal or litigation or something down the road, we'll reconsider this, but we find it to be discriminatory or something like that. So I wonder if there's any, and I'm going to open up for the board members to share your thoughts or questions, and if we'll see. Is there any energy for?
Before you start, for fairness, Mr. Griffin, was that you on the video saying for you, your school system, to not comply? Was that you?
Yes.
Okay, Representative Neely, you're recognized. Follow up.
All right. So I'm back to what audacity became about you that made you feel like you could do this? Did you not take an oath for the office that you hold? I know I did. And in that oath, it talked about the Constitution. It talked about the laws of the state of North Carolina. Did you take that oath?
I took an oath, yes.
Did you believe it?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear what it said?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't think you paid attention real close then, did you?
At the end of the evening, after that long discussion, we took action that is compliant with the law.
No, you played around with the law, but you didn't take action to comply with it. And you've done a lot of word service today, but I haven't seen a lot of faith or any action from your words that prove what's going on. Because I see everything else that's going on in your system besides what you're telling us today. Do you totally believe that y'all are in line with the provisions of this law and that y'all are enacting them today? Do you tell me that?
Yes, we are in compliance with the law, and we have been since then.
Sir, I could call you a lot of things right now. We're going to skip that part. Here's what I want to know. Just exactly what is y'all's fund balance in the Chapel Hill Carrboro school system right now? Y'all fairly well off? I haven't really looked at your finances. How are y'all financially?
So certainly we've had some difficulties over the last couple of years financially, primarily due to declining student enrollment. I believe our fund balance, the audited fund balance at the end of 24-25 was around $300,000.
Okay, so y'all don't have the money to be able to educate these kids with your own money. You're going to need some help, aren't you? You're going to need state funds, aren't you?
Certainly, we need state funds to help educate our kids at a high level.
Well, there's a darn good chance you may not get them. Now, I don't know how you're going to educate your kids without any money. Maybe y'all going to do volunteer work over there. I'm not sure. But I will tell you this. Because of y'all, there's going to be legislation that comes, and it's going to be pretty tough. Because we're not going to put up with rogue school systems who have no money and will not comply with the laws of this state. Do you understand what I said there? Shake your head yes if you don't want to say yes.
I certainly understand what you're saying.
And the reason this is going to happen is because of y'all. Chapel Hill Carrboro School System. So when anybody asks, why did it get like this? Make sure that y'all tell them, well, I guess it was us. I guess we're the ones that caused the problem. I guess we're the ones that started this. You know, we try to make the laws where they're kind of hopefully abided by. But I guess we can put shall instead of if, which looks like what we're going to have to do. I suggest y'all need to go home and do some house cleaning, some serious house cleaning. Because you may be telling us one thing, but you're not doing it. And we can prove it time and time again. Y'all took an oath right there a little bit ago, put your hand on the Bible. To me, that means a lot. Maybe to y'all it doesn't. But I don't think you've been truthful at all today. Not one bit. That's all I have, sir.
Representative Sylvania, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Outside my time for questioning, may I have a point of clarification with Chair, please? Outside my time to question, may I have extra time to ask you as Chair some questions for point of clarification?
Ask your questions and we'll get there when we get there. We're time consuming. If you want to ask questions, I'll do it now.
Okay. Point of clarification. As my leader, respectfully, I would have loved to have all of this evidence first to be successful as equal members of this committee, and hopefully next time.
You were presented that on Friday.
The videos, this email without the names of the person of respondents.
That was not for this. This is something that I dug up and found and just shared today. But you were given everything that everyone else was represented.
All right. Well, I would love to share in our decision making in that. And
I'd ask my questions. You're losing your time.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to ask, your summons here because of certain criteria. I'm going to just say a couple things and ask a couple of things. I know you expressed through the video your viewpoint when it came to this law, but can you alone make a decision on how the school board and the school system runs the school system?
No, ma'am. All school board decisions are made by the board as a whole.
Yes, sir. So then you had mentioned but I want clarification. You made a vote that night, correct?
Correct.
And was the vote to comply with the law?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Also, I wanted to clarify, I could not find any word of indoctrination on your website. I could not find the reading list for Make Kids Woke, any words of CRT, white supremacy, oppression, and that Santa's husband, when I had seen in Chair's post about that book, I wanted to know too, but I couldn't find any reading list. I only found your summer reading list. Can you provide me that information?
Representative,
Yes,
we're going to do it one more time so you can see it comes directly from their website so you can follow, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you. And I
Isaac, cue that up, please.
still to ask questions. Thank you, sir.
And this will not go against your time.
Okay. Thank you.
And keep in mind, Representative, they have scrubbed their website since they've been called out. So the website is different now. That may be why you couldn't find it. We went back to get it where they were defying the law. But we'll share that with you so you can see it right now.
So this is from like way back?
No, this isn't way back. This is from just a few weeks ago from where they've been called out.
Okay. So can we follow it, sir, up chair, from where you had?
Okay, so you're on their website now. Okay? And you see right there where they're circling? Try more gender-expansive books about bodies. We like. This is the link from their website.
May I have the URL so I can pull it up from my...
That will be provided to you, but not right now. Ask your questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Chair. Is it true that this was pulled off when it was made aware that there was concern? Or was it never on your website?
I don't believe that's on our website. I believe it's a link to a third-party resource from our website. But again, this is the first time.
All right, the debate discussion continues there at House Committee meeting on oversight and reform. We need to take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. 9:58's the time. You're watching Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. I want to let you know that North Carolina Governor Josh Stein speaking on Medicaid in Raleigh. We're going to roll back the press conference, the event, a little bit later. It is also playing on our secondary channel right now. It appears he is taking questions from local press there, and we'll play all of it for you here on Live Impact News. But right now, at 9:59, as we head into the new year, many of us are focusing on our health, getting healthy. However, there is a growing health concern that's really quietly spreading across the nation. Pharmacy deserts, communities where people have to travel long distances, often more than 10 miles, just to pick up necessary medication. So joining us this morning right now to explain what's driving this growing concern and problem and how perhaps digital pharmacy solutions are helping bridge the gap is senior pharmacist at Amazon Pharmacy, Tess Carey. Thank you, Tess, for joining us this morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Tess, talk to us about how widespread this problem is of having a pharmacy desert.
Right. First, pharmacy deserts are an area where the residents don't have adequate access to a pharmacy or pharmacist services. And like you mentioned, this is a growing area of concern with pharmacy closures. So since 2019, 7,000 pharmacies have closed, and that's leaving nearly half of U.S. counties with a pharmacy desert.
Wow. And so those with perhaps chronic conditions who need to take medications regularly, I would imagine, are challenged on a daily or monthly basis.
That's right. We know that when a patient doesn't have access to a pharmacy, that they are at risk of not filling their prescription or potentially delaying the fill of that prescription medication. And when you have a chronic condition, I think of conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, even asthma. If you are not refilling that prescription on time or not able to take your medication, you're at risk of increased hospitalizations and worse health outcomes, unfortunately.
So at this time of year, many families gathering for the holidays. What are some of the warning signs then that our loved ones or family members, an aging parent perhaps, is struggling with medication access?
That's right. This time of year, especially, running an extra errand can be a hassle for busy caregivers and any individuals that are trying to get to a pharmacy. So when we think about access and, any additional barriers like affordability, getting to a pharmacy, transportation, maybe work hours not aligning to pharmacy hours, those are all situations where a patient may be struggling with getting their medications.
All right, so I mentioned there at the top about these digital pharmacy solutions. How does that work?
That's right. So Amazon Pharmacy is a full-service digital-first pharmacy on Amazon.com. So you can think of us truly as that pharmacy in your pocket that then pairs that convenient shopping experience with fast home delivery of your prescription medications. So they come right to your doorstep. We also offer 24/7 access to a pharmacist, which to me is the most important part. We want to make sure that patients have the ability to contact a pharmacist and address any questions or concerns that they may have. As for people that could benefit from a digital pharmacy like Amazon Pharmacy, I think of, like we talked about, anyone that might want to skip the line, have that added convenience. Also, anyone that may want to explore options for saving money on their prescriptions. And lastly, I think about patients that are managing multiple medications. At Amazon Pharmacy, we offer a service called PillPack to help simplify medication management for patients that are taking 2 or more medications. We're able to pre-sort medications into packets that are then labeled by date and time to make it really convenient and easy to take your prescriptions exactly as they're prescribed.
And so that would probably help both patient and maybe their caregiver or their loved ones watching out for them. All right, Tess, how do people get started then? What do people need to know? Step 1.
That's right. If you want to learn more, you can go to pharmacy.amazon.com, where patients will have the opportunity to sign up for Amazon Pharmacy and complete a health profile so that we can learn a little bit more about you. From there, your provider or your doctor can send the prescription directly to Amazon Pharmacy, just like any other pharmacy.
And this is for anybody, right? Any age that could use a pharmacy closer to home, not just an aging parent, right?
That's right, absolutely. Amazon Pharmacy is for anyone, and you don't have to be a Prime member to use Amazon Pharmacy as well. Being a Prime member does bring additional benefits, and there's some additional savings opportunities, but really Amazon Pharmacy is for anyone that needs a convenient pharmacy option.
All right, Tess Carey, Senior Pharmacist at Amazon Pharmacy. Thanks for bringing this to our attention, and it would definitely sound like it would benefit many of our rural communities in the Carolinas. Appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Hi, everyone. 10:06 is the time. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We have had a busy morning so far, and now happening across our live feed is an announcement. There's the Agriculture Secretary Rollins joined there, as you can see, from Secretary of Health Kennedy and Dr. Oz. Let's listen in here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
So excited to continue that work. We all know we're at the point where we must do something to correct the chronic health problems that Americans face. Over 75% of Americans' youth between the ages of 17 and 24, as you know, we've been talking about it, but important to constantly remind those kids are ineligible for military service because of obesity, poor physical fitness, or mental health challenges. Over 350,000 American children have been diagnosed with diabetes. Since my confirmation as Secretary of Agriculture on the exact same day as Secretary Kennedy's confirmation, February 13th earlier this year, we've been taking bold action on this front. Whether SNAP waivers or applauding voluntary industry commitments or emphasizing local and regional food procurement in our schools or defining ultra-processed foods, all underway, we are prioritizing the health of our country. I am also excited to give an update on our revised Farm to School grants, which put farmers first and promote healthy choices, healthy families, and healthy outcomes. This year's opportunity streamlined the application process, removed woke DEI requirements, and supports expanding access for small family farms to markets and infrastructure by facilitating connections to the child nutrition marketplace. The Farm to School application period just closed, and I'm so excited to note that USDA received a record-breaking 645 applications. The record high in the past was 386, so we nearly doubled that. The awards will be announced early in the spring. We continue to actively work with Secretary Kennedy in crafting sensible dietary guidelines for Americans, which are set to be released early next year, so in a couple of weeks. Federal nutrition advice must be sound, simple, and clear. These guidelines will prioritize whole, healthy, and nutritious foods, such as whole fat dairy, fruits, vegetables, and meats, and suggest limiting highly processed foods and those high in sugar. President Trump and my colleagues, led by Secretary Kennedy on the MAHA Commission, know our current health outcomes, especially for our children, are unsustainable, and that American agriculture and our agencies are at the heart of that solution, and what an honor it is. We're doing things a little bit differently than typical Washington, D.C. Since our confirmation, we have encouraged the states to think differently and creatively as our laboratories of innovation about how to solve the many health issues facing America. So that was a really exciting thing to do. We just finished signing several of those SNAP waivers, and we can take questions on that. Dr. Oz will talk a little bit about that, as Secretary Kennedy will. But really today is about the next step in making America healthy again, in addition to those waivers, and that is talking about regenerative agriculture. Regenerative agriculture is a conservation management approach that emphasizes natural resources through improved soil health, water management, and natural vitality for the productivity and prosperity of American agriculture and all of our communities. Today, we are launching a new Farmer First regenerative agriculture pilot program, which will invest $700 million specifically to support regenerative agriculture. We will deliver this support through existing programs our farmers already know and already trust. Protecting and improving the health of our soil is critical, not only for the future viability of farmland, but to the future success of American farmers. In order to continue to be the most productive and most efficient growers in the world, we must protect our topsoil from unnecessary erosion and boost the microbiome of the soil. Today's announcement encourages these priorities while supporting farmers to transition to regenerative agriculture if they so choose. This is a Farmers First pilot program and the first of its kind. The pilot brings USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service, or NRCS, we have our incredible leaders here, Aubrey Betancourt, back to its core mission, helping people help the land through whole farm, outcome-based voluntary conservation that our producers trust. For too long, our conservation programs have been severely fragmented. This pilot replaces that fragmentation with one unified process that evaluates everything at one time. Whole farm planning is the centerpiece, ensuring that all resource concerns such as soil, water, and natural vitality are addressed together, not one piece at a time. Producers will benefit from a single application, reducing red tape and making conservation easier to access and our programs more impactful. As President Trump has done since day one, we are committed to restoring America's natural strength by empowering producers with simple outcome-based tools. Producers at every stage, from beginners just starting with cover crops to advanced operation with years of conservation experience, many of those are represented by our farmers today, will find a pathway through this pilot. Each producer's results will be measured and credited back to the farmer through an outcomes report, recognizing and rewarding improvements they achieve on their own land. This initiative puts American farmers first as part of the solution to make America healthy again. But by supporting access to American-grown whole foods that are critical to addressing the chronic disease crisis nationwide. Using the Sustains Act, we will bring corporate, label, and supply chain partners directly into partnership with NRCS, supporting regenerative agriculture adoption, farmer recognition, and consumer education. Because success depends on strong partnerships, we will expand work through our technical service providers and local organizations to meet demand. In addition, the Office of Urban Agriculture and Innovative Production, supported by their advisory committee, will extend regenerative priorities into cities and urban areas and urban communities across our great country. Again, aligning with the MAHA agenda. And many of those places in our country, as you know, are those that are facing the most severe crisis regarding nutritious foods and access to nutritious foods. This new pilot is about results that last. It will make our farms more productive, our land healthier, and our water cleaner. Again, we're so grateful to everyone for being here. At this point, I'd like to turn it to my great partner in all of this work, Secretary Bobby Kennedy. Thank you all again for being here, and we will be answering questions.
Thank you very much, Secretary Rollins. This is the fulfillment of a promise that we made in the MAHA report. The MAHA report, which we released 2.5 months ago, has 120 recommendations for how to transition, how to eliminate the chronic disease epidemic and transition to a healthier America. And among those promises, among the recommendations of the report, was the promise to make it easier for farmers in this country, to give them an off-ramp. Farmers who are dependent on inputs, on chemical and fertilizer inputs, to give them an off-ramp where they can transition to a model that emphasizes soil health, and with soil health comes nutrient density. And without coercion, through voluntary action, to give them good incentives to do well by doing good for themselves, for our children, and for the country. I'm very, very happy to have as a partner in this endeavor Brooke Rollins. I've been working on farm issues for 30 years, and this is the first USDA secretary who I believe is really committed to giving us, we already have the healthiest food supply in the world, to making a food supply that's even healthier, that's going to sustain, again, a transition to a much healthier America for our children. I also want to thank these farmers who are inspiring, and they're inspiring to the farm community, to all of us who care about good health, about sustainability on the farm, about soil, about water retention, about soil retention, about the health of farmers themselves who are concerned about the health of their children from too many chemicals on the land. And they have given us models. Some of these are 5th, 6th, 7th generation farmers, and they've provided us models for how to do this and how to do it in a way that vertically integrates, that preserves profit margins, and that dramatically reduces inputs. So I want to thank, again, Brooke Rollins, Secretary of USDA, for making this happen, for her commitment to making America healthy again. And I'm going to introduce my partner and friend, Mehmet Oz.
They are too humble to say it themselves, but Brooke Rollins and Bobby Kennedy are amongst the 2 most innovative secretaries in modern history, and it is your leadership that makes what you're hearing today possible and feasible for people like me who run agencies to actually march forward to accomplish the kinds of goals that they're outlining. Let me give you 2 major examples of how this is playing out right now. The first is the Rural Health Transformation Fund, which, as many of you have been following, received grants from all 50 states, requests for grants for all 50 states. We have just started to get the scores back from grading these applications, which are done by outside experts, and we will allot all that money by the 31st of this month. One of the ways that you get the money is by applying for SNAP waivers. If you apply for a SNAP waiver, and as the 6 documents here that were signed by Secretary Rollins today would attest, there's a lot of interest in this. You get paid extra money. If you actually get your legislator to ratify these agreements, you get additional money. Now, we've also asked states to submit proposals for participating in the Presidential Fitness Challenge, something that Secretary Kennedy's uncle created, and they get points for doing that as well. They also get points, by the way, for opening up credentialing so that rural communities can take advantage of clinicians that might live across the state border, that might be closer to where they happen to be in the to the corner edge of their state than from the big city in the middle part of their state. So our intent is to provide better health care across the board, and the Rural Health Transformation Fund is going to put a 50% increase in federal Medicaid dollars into rural health care over the current standard for the next 5 years in a row. That's, again, 50% more money, $50 billion every year, spread out over 5 years. The second big issue is to build demand. as regenerative farming and other tools are coming to the forefront and better, higher quality foods are quantitated with the plans Secretary Kennedy is pushing forward with the dietary guidelines, we want to make sure there's a voracious appetite, metaphorically and in reality, for these tasty and nutritious foods. And eating those foods makes you healthier and will save the taxpayers money because Medicare and Medicaid won't have to pay out so much in healthcare claims. You either pay for it in food or you pay for it in healthcare expenses. We therefore are pushing both in Medicaid and Medicare for clinicians to talk in their annual wellness visits with pediatricians, with kids if they're pediatricians, and with adults if they're primary care providers and general practitioners. And they get points, they get bonuses if they have these conversations teaching about healthy food. But it's even more provocative, I believe, now is we have the ability to incentivize plans like Medicare Advantage plans, which cover 34 million Americans, to provide in the supplemental benefits that they give for chronically ill patients, which is now 34% of all beneficiaries. That's a doubling since last year. But they can't just give any food. They must give food that is nutritiously valuable to these chronic illnesses for the third of Americans who get them, and they have to meet the dietary guidelines, which will be released next year. So it allows us now to enhance the ability of purchasing, the U.S. government's purchasing power and insurance companies' purchasing power to support the changes that are being made by the Secretary of Agriculture.
Thank you, Dr.
All right,
Ross.
we will
We've
get
got some
back
of
to
our farmers, Blake
many of the
Alexander
events
of
happening
California,
between our
and former
state and
4-H
federal
and
leaders
FFA
after a break
officer,
on Live
and
Impact
a
News on
multi-
WCNC+. Back here now at 10:21 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. Today's theme seems to be focused and centering around health, wellness, Medicaid, Medicare. It looks like Senator Schumer and Senator Klobuchar are holding a press conference right now. This is in D.C. They are talking about health insurance premiums. We'll dip into here in Live Impact News.
Parts of the country. But how are they going to afford an additional $10,000 a year? What are they going to cut back on? Their health care? Or their food? Or their ability to buy some Christmas presents for their kids? So, with just days left on the clock, the clearest, cleanest, easiest, and best path left is the bill what Democrats are proposing. A clean extension of current tax credits. That's it. No poison pills, no gimmicks, just relief. Our bill is the only proposal on either side that has party-wide support on both sides of the Capitol. Democrats are fighting for lower health care costs for the American people. Republicans are fighting with each other. They can't even come up with a plan. So they put in this junk insurance thing, which I'm sure some of my colleagues will talk about, which does absolutely nothing. They're just so embarrassed they have no plan that they put in a really bad plan that is not going to get any support and is loaded with poison pills. What they want to do is send people a one-time check, maybe, if you're lucky, $80 a month. How on earth is $80 a month going to help the people here if their premiums are doubling and tripling because they don't do a thing? They don't change. They don't extend the tax credits by even a day, a minute, an hour. They just don't do it. They're so in the grips of the special interests and of their ideology, which says you're on your own, baby, that they are stuck. Our bill is the only bill that will prevent this crisis from happening. It's the last train out of the station. We urge our Republican colleagues, for the sake of the American people, to get on that train. So, we need 13 Republicans, 13. We ask Americans all over the country to call their Republican senators and say, this is your last chance. The vote is tomorrow. Last chance to help us avoid a crisis that will be devastating for so many of us. Bottom line is very simple. We should tell our Republican colleagues, every American should say, vote to protect your constituents. Don't let this crisis hit on your watch, because it is now your responsibility. And there are so many cases across the country. Every one of us, when we go back to our states, hears about these cases. And you will hear some of them now, and they really, I just talked to Becky Roberts, and it breaks your heart to hear what she has to say and what will happen to her if these credits are not extended. Becky.
Hi, I'm Becky Roberts. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Hi, sorry. I'm Becky Roberts. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I was born with a dislocated hip. They didn't catch it until I was 16. The deformities continued over time. I've always worked for small companies. I could have been on disability my entire life, but I chose to work, and I'm glad I did. But the companies I've worked for, places I've worked for, have been smaller and have never been able to offer insurance. In 2005, when my son was 5 years old, he's Asperger autistic. My husband was a cancer survivor, and I had the disability. At that point, if we could get insurance on the regular market, it would have been $5,000 a month. Needless to say, we didn't have a spare $5,000 a month. Years later, I got on the Affordable Care Act. I've been on the Affordable Care Act for a few years now. My husband has passed, but my son was able to get the treatment that he needed. Medical technology caught up. This summer, I had surgery to correct my hip deformity. I'm currently undergoing physical therapy. My premium has gone up 110%, which I can probably manage, but some people can't. If I'm allowed to keep my insurance, if I'm allowed to continue with physical therapy, within a few months to a year, I'll be out of the wheelchair. Otherwise, this is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I want to do basic things like walk my dog, simple things like that. And if I'm allowed to, I can have those dreams, those simple dreams. My story is the story of millions of people that are being impacted by this, some that could lose cancer treatments and things even more serious than mine. But it's a matter of life, and it's a matter of quality of life. Thank you for being here today, and thank you to the senators.
Thank you so much, Becky, for being willing to join us.
You've been watching a press conference from Democratic senators on health insurance premiums. We will get back to what North Carolina Governor Josh Stein has to say on Medicaid after the break. We'll be right back with Live Impact News on WCNC+. Just about 10:30 right now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It appears that Senator Klobuchar has walked up to the podium. It is in D.C. They're talking health insurance premiums. We'll listen in on Live Impact News.
You go on that have the word affordability. When you call it a hoax and you actually don't do anything about it, the American people can read their bills. They can see their premium increases. So with that, I just tell our Republican friends, you can do it with us on this vote, and you can fix at least this current problem. You can do it with us by putting this on legislation, or we are going to march into the midterms against your resistance and win and get this done. And with that, I am so honored to turn this over to Aaron Lehman, who, as I noted, fifth-generation farmer, talk about the ACA and what it means to his family. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Aaron Lehman, and I farm in northern Polk County, where I grow corn, soybeans, oats, and hay. My family and I are farmers because we love to grow things that feed our neighbors, our communities, and the rest of the world. But that is getting harder because, for my wife and I, our health care costs are about to double. The Affordable Care Act has been one of the best investments in rural health care in decades. For farming families, entrepreneurs, and employees at small businesses who don't offer health insurance, the ACA has expanded coverage, lowered costs, encouraged rural Iowans to take more risk in developing and expanding our farm operations. And in the Farmers Union, our members are telling us how important the ACA has been for their families and farming operations. For myself, my family having access to the marketplace insurance policies has been a must because the affordability provided by the enhanced premium tax credits make our budget doable. My wife is a breast cancer survivor. Without the Affordable Care Act, she likely wouldn't have even been offered an insurance product because of her pre-existing condition. Because of the Affordable Care Act, when she was laid off later because of downsizing, she was able to access affordable insurance and go back to school and get a higher degree. Now she's an independent contractor, providing care for elderly and other citizens in need, and she still has the access to that coverage even though she's an independent contractor. And it allows her to help out on the farm during our busy season because we know that we have coverage. And on our farm, the ACA has done other things to help us. It's made it more affordable for us to figure out how to replace and fix aging equipment, to bring new innovations onto the farm, to explore new markets.
At 10:33, you are watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Overnight, if you're just joining us here on Live Impact News, a Democrat has won the Miami mayor race for the first time in almost 30 years. It is a live press conference happening right now. This is Mayor-elect Eileen Higgins. She just won the Miami mayor's race. Let's listen in on Live Impact News.
All that needs to stop. The city has to get to work, has to become more efficient, has to be more modern in how it embraces technology. And those are the sorts of things that I intend to get started on right away. We cannot ignore the fact that the rhetoric in our nation is sometimes very distressing these days. We seem to have entered an epoch where elected officials, very powerful elected officials, use language that is demeaning, that is cruel, that is disrespectful about the people who live in the city of Miami. We are an immigrant city. We have always been an immigrant city. And the people that live in the city of Miami need to know that not only will I serve all of them as mayor, but I will speak respectfully about them, about their families, about their contributions to our beautiful cultural fabric here, and more importantly, about their contributions to our thriving economy. So maybe I'll switch for a minute to Spanish. Does that, and then some questions? Ayer la gente de la ciudad de Miami habló fuertemente. La gente decidió cambiar direcciones en la ciudad de Miami. Necesitamos cambiar de una ciudad con una reputación de corrupción, de gritar, de disrupción y cosas como así, y transformarnos en una ciudad que funciona para los residentes. Viviendas asequibles.
It was like,
proyectos
all right, you are watching a
de
live press
trabajos
conference
públicos.
right now from Miami's mayor-elect Eileen Higgins speaking in Spanish to her contingency in this live press conference happening out of Miami. Just a little info, a little background as she is just making her speech now in Spanish. She, I caught that she is saying that we need a change for this city, but she did beat out local businessman, Republican Emilio Gonzalez, a businessman and former city manager who was endorsed by President Trump. And Gonzalez conceded last night. His campaign confirmed. So right now, Ms. Higgins saying that they need this change, and she was a former county commissioner. So she is quite familiar with Miami-Dade. She won 59% of the vote to Gonzalez's 41% of the vote. And we also know that Miami, the mayor's race, technically nonpartisan, but a Republican affiliate candidate has won every election there since 2008. An independent candidate won before then. And Democrats have been locked out of the office there in South Florida. Their last win back in 1997, so almost 30 years. And while Miami-Dade has moved dramatically towards Republicans in the last few elections, this definitely sending a statement to the contingency and South Florida there that they are looking for the change. So is she still speaking in Spanish, Carly? All right, so she's back in English. We'll go ahead and play this for you here. It's live on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
And change the county permitting system. That's one way we can get people into housing more quickly. The other thing we need to look deeply at is what is happening on city-owned land, and that will also be a top priority for me, is where does the city own land? What are they doing with that land, and can we add workforce or affordable housing to those properties?
Mayor, I have a question in español o del affordable housing.
Let's finish in English and then we'll go to Spanish.
Okay, okay.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, hi,
In this whole process, congratulations, by the
Thank
way.
you.
In this whole process that you addressed about permits and the bureaucracy that exists, and you stated it takes too long, does that entail to change the whole aspect? You would have to bring new people, and people that have health positions would be removed from there?
Every person that is currently employed in the city of Miami is going to get an opportunity to be part of the changes in the city of Miami. The city currently has many, many openings and positions because of the toxic atmosphere that was happening at the city commission. They've been unable to fill a lot of positions. What that means for me now is I get to take advantage of those openings to bring in people perhaps that have different IT capabilities, experience in using artificial intelligence in permitting, and begin to transform the good people that work in the city of Miami into a process that they deserve. When you have good people using processes that are from 25 years ago, you simply can't catch up with the kind of things that we need to be doing in the city. We've got to build more affordable housing, but we've got flooding. You know that. Everybody yesterday saw the rain. We've got to get those projects accelerated. So what we need to do is make sure we're bringing in those innovative processes and training the folks that are there to embrace those new innovations so that we can all work together to make Miami better.
Por eso lo de
Okay.
English, and then we can go to Spanish.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tess.
Okay, we'll do English and Spanish? Okay. Tess, hi.
Lo de affordable housing está
Sí.
One second, Tess.
Okay, okay, so en inglés primero y después vamos a tener preguntas en español, ¿está bien? Okay, perfecto.
You've spoken out against the city's involvement or decision to enroll in the 287G agreement. As mayor, do you plan to walk that back or repeal the city's involvement in 287G / do you know if you have the authority to do that?
So it's very confusing. If the city should never have entered into that agreement, right? They should have joined with the city of South Miami's lawsuit because it became very clear that the city of Miami did not need to join that, to sign that agreement, but they've done it. But the regulations are unclear about whether you can walk back and reverse that. What I can tell you is the city of Miami is going to minimize any involvement in making sure that there's no reason in the city of Miami that our police department should be in the job of federal immigration enforcement. Yeah.
You've been watching a live press conference with Miami Mayor-elect Eileen Higgins, the first Democrat to be elected to city mayor in Miami in almost 30 years. We will be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, it is 10:43 right now. Jane Monreal joining you here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We are dipping into live coverage of what you saw there from our sister station content partner out of Phoenix, where there is a rescue being conducted from Camelback Mountain. Let's go ahead and listen in here on Live Impact News.
Diligently ever since the sun came out. That's been the message all night. You know, when the sun wasn't out, they said it's unsafe to, do these search and rescue missions, especially while it's so dark out and you can't really have much visibility. So they've been making sure to fly around this area at least for when it's safe. As for how he got there, that's something they're still working to find out themselves. I mean, like I said before, the firefighter we were speaking with all morning, DJ Lee, he said, it takes some skill to actually get to this part of the mountain, considering this is not even on the trail. And like you said, Allison, it's like, considering where he is, just to get to him, it would have to require maybe some sort of rock climbing. I mean, we've been seeing helicopters going back and forth, picking up new crew members just to head over to that area of the mountain to get to him. So it's really been changing as we speak, but we're seeing the helicopter making a lot of back and forth trips between the east and west. But something that's really continuing to, develop as we speak this morning.
Yeah, and we're getting a little bit of closer look at this man here, and he does seem to be okay, leaning up there against, some of the rock. Looks like some of the rescue crew is speaking with him right now, and also, well, just the best part is that communicating, right? He looks to be okay. It looks like that chopper may be leaving or circling around for a different area here, and I just want to mention, I know, David, you talked about the crews trying to make sure he was going to be okay overnight because they know it can get cold there. I mean, temperatures were dropping into the 50s overnight, and so they were able to get this man a blanket because they knew he was going to have to be there for a while. They got him some water, they got him some food, make sure he was going to be okay through those overnight hours because they just could not do this safely overnight. They called it, they said, we're going to have to pick this up in the morning. That means today, they said, when the sun comes up. Sunrise this morning was about 7:20, and so we started to hear the chopper going up, just circling around there first, trying to figure out where's the best vantage point, right? Where can we safely land our crew members down to try and get this man out and just kind of factor in all, the weather conditions as well here. And so that's just been part of the strategizing for them to get this done safely. Now, we've seen multiple crew members drop here onto the mountaintop in the last 15 minutes or so. When we joined you, it was about 2 crew members. I believe we are now up to 4 landing there, just being, dropped down by the chopper overhead. Now, Sky 12 is staying pretty far back, so we're zoomed in here just to make sure we don't interfere with anything. But we do know the Phoenix police chopper, I believe, is up there right now helping in this rescue as fire crews, really multi-agencies, they come together in situations like this and try to just make sure they can get citizens down safely. And I don't know if we have Ginger's mic open or not, but I just want to be able to talk to you, Ginger, a little bit about those overnight conditions. And then when you're in a situation like stuck on a mountaintop here with no cover, I imagine, it just gets so cold up there.
Well, as far as weather goes, I don't want to lessen the situation going on outside because this is precarious. Watching this footage is really precarious, I guess is the best way to put it. But, anytime you're talking about elevation change and steep inclines, you could be talking up upsloping or even downsloping winds. The good news is we don't have that going on. Also, this time of the year, we could definitely get those freezing temperatures, numbers down into the 30s, if not the low 40s. And yet last night, after about 10 o'clock, our temperatures have been right about 54 to 51 degrees. We typically see the coolest temperature right as the sun comes up, and we did dip down to 49 degrees. But again, that's not freezing for us. So as far as the conditions go, we don't have much wind and we have rather mild on the warmer side of conditions. So granted, yes, 52 degrees, which is what we're reading at right now. On the cooler side, this is the coolest point of the day. Overnight, we were in the mid to upper 50s, which, yeah, I would definitely want a blanket, especially with some elevation. But thankfully, look at those bushes right there. You're not seeing much wind. And when you're dealing with some sort of a helicopter basket rescue, that is one of the biggest concerns. But certainly from an exposure, from a wind, from a temperature standpoint, things are as good as they could be, I guess would be the way I'd say it, Allison.
Yeah, very true. And that's what we have to be grateful for, right? That at least in this situation, we know it's the, winter. The temperatures could get down to freezing. And thankfully, that's not the case. But you certainly feel for this man if he was not prepared with a jacket or anything like that. Yeah, you're going to feel the chill overnight for sure. And so this is part of the reason that the rescue crews use a drone to get him a blanket overnight, just to try and make him as comfortable as possible. I do want to bring in Chris Dunn right now here as well. He's getting ready to join us here in a second just to kind of give us some perspective from a pilot, right? If you're in an aircraft, you're in a helicopter, you're dealing with all this, trying to be very careful, right? Because these are people's lives. Even though they train for this, we're watching them bring down another rescue crew member here onto the mountaintop. They're using some of their hand signals here just to kind of give them an idea of where to land, what to do, when to pull up. Chris, walk me through the mindset here.
Yeah, well, the crews on that rescue helicopter, they can't hover over a certain area for a prolonged period of time. So that's why you see them circling around. That's why you see Sky 12 kind of circling around, making this maneuver around the top of Camelback Mountain. They are in controlled airspace. Actually, Camelback Mountain is just below the shelf area of some really highly controlled airspace from Sky Harbor. So they're not going to be in the way of any arriving or departing aircraft. So that's the good news. They're a little bit too far to the north of that. But they are in communication with the ground crews and with the other first responders in that area, trying to assess the situation, trying to get the rescuers in place, dropping them down onto the mountain. Kind of surprised that we actually have 4 people that they were dropping down onto the top of Camelback. And they're also in communication with our helicopter as well. Because, you know, you don't want to have a couple of different aircraft orbiting around the same area. So they're at different altitudes and they're communicating with each other, making sure that everything is safe and that separation is provided between those 2 helicopters. But they're not in direct airspace with Sky Harbor Airport. So that's the good part. And they can conduct this rescue safely between the rescue helicopter and our news coverage helicopter, so we can bring you these live pictures.
Yeah, I mean, as far as being a pilot is concerned and flying in these kinds of conditions, is this the kind of the best case scenario? Low winds, not really dealing a lot with Mother Nature here.
Yeah, this would be super easy flying. This is what we call VFR, visual flight rules. No clouds to get in the way, light winds. A lot of times the terrain can kind of dictate how weather works, and even with light winds, you can have some pretty intense updrafts and downdrafts. For example, a couple weeks ago, I flew into Sedona that sits up on that mesa, and even with light winds, there's a lot of terrain there, and so you have drainage winds that are flowing off the top of the mesa, and you can have these drainage winds that flow off the top of Camelback Mountain and kind of create some swirls. And daytime mountain and valley land breeze, sea breeze, kind of mountain and valley breezes happen at certain times of the day. So even if the winds are calm, you can still have a little bit of wind movement that creates a little bit of turbulence and a little eddy circulation around those mountains. But on a day like this, it looks like things are really calm, pretty smooth.
Yeah.
And we have just a hint of an inversion layer, which indicates a really stable atmosphere.
Okay, and it looks like we're now up to 6 crew members there on the mountaintop trying to get to this hiker that has been stranded overnight for hours, right? And so some of them could be paramedics as well, just coming to see and evaluate him to make sure he's okay. We're starting to see a little bit more movement now. It looks like he may have been hurt a little bit. He looks like he's limping slightly. He made it up off that top there with the help of some of those crew members. So now they are moving from that area that he had been stuck in overnight. That's when Chopper, we first got over here. We were able to see him kind of in that crevice there to the right, but this is the first time they've moved out into this more open area here. We've got, again, 6 crew members. You watch them drop live 2 more there onto the mountaintop to rescue this man who you see in that white shirt here. The rest of the rescue crew, they all have those helmets, so that's kind of how they're distinguished here, and some of the harnesses on their person as well. And so what we're going to watch is to see the strategy they use to try and get this man off the mountain. They said this is rugged terrain. It's hard for them to get to here, but they are experienced in this. They do it all year long, and they train for it as well. So they're just strategizing the best way to get him down, also just to make sure that he is okay before he gets down as well. No injuries here. As far as we knew overnight, Fire Captain Lee was telling us that he was okay, but he didn't have a cell phone. And so they don't know if maybe he had one and it died. So it just made communicating with this man very difficult. So they used a drone to get him a phone so they could talk to him. We're told that he said he's okay. He wasn't hurt, but he was going to have to stay there overnight. They got him a blanket. They got him water. They got him some food. And they've been at this rescue now for at least an hour and a half or so. And Chris, I'm just curious, when you're that pilot there, you're watching your crew on the ground, there's going to be somebody there as well, being the second set of eyes, right? Because you have to look out to your horizon. You have to look out everywhere here. Just how long until you have to leave and go fuel up again?
Well, that depends on the endurance of the aircraft that you're flying. And I'm not as well versed in helicopters as I am with fixed wing aircraft, but typically about 2 hours, 2.5 hours is your total fuel load would be for a helicopter. So they can stay on station for a set amount of time. And really fuel consumption with aircraft is based on time, not necessarily the fuel gauge. So you know when that engine is running at that certain speed and the certain atmospheric conditions, you might have 45 minutes or an hour. And once the clock hits that hour, you're out of there. Yeah. And so you go back to refuel, and you just don't take any chances, especially when it comes to rescues. You don't want one potential disaster or bad situation turn into an even worse situation. So fortunately, the weather is on their side. It could really complicate things if we had one of those rare fog events, or if we had some rain around, or if we had really high winds that could hamper the rescue effort here. We've seen that before, where, especially during firefights, where they can't launch the firefighting aircraft because the winds are too strong and it just makes it too dangerous. So as far as a weather perspective and a flying perspective, to get in there and rescue this guy off of Camelback, kind of a best case scenario. And also, as Ginger was pointing out, temperature's not quite cold enough for a really hypothermia, a really bad case of that to settle in. If he didn't have a blanket or anything else, yeah, he could have been hypothermic by the time this morning rolled around, because temperatures on Camelback probably upper 40s, low 50s overnight, which is quite chilly if you don't have anything to cover you up.
Right.
So it's probably, hopefully, will turn out to be a best case scenario here.
Absolutely. I think that's what we're all hoping for. And Chris, thank you for that perspective. We appreciate it. And like you mentioned, you know, it could be a little bit different with this chopper here as far as the flight time that they have. But they are, you know, doing their best. And what we're seeing now is this hiker. He has been fitted with the helmet. He's got some of that hoisting gear on him now. And so it looks like they may try and lift him off this mountaintop here. And what we don't know is will they lower him onto a different part of the mountain and then walk him the rest of the way down? Will they take him all the way down from this point? That's what we are waiting to see as we're bringing this to you live here right now with Sky 12. And we have been watching this for hours unfold here. Multiple rescue crews there on the mountaintop trying to get this man down who they say waved them down last night. And so they noticed this man waving, yelling that he needed help. He was stuck in this top part of the mountain here. And as they tried to figure out a way to get him safely down, unfortunately last night they said just couldn't do it. It was too dark. This is in too much of a isolated, kind of remote and rugged area. I mean, look at where he is as Sky 12 starts to zoom out here. I mean, one, it makes you wonder how he got there, because the trailhead in this area was already closed due to some loose boulders after severe storms you may remember hit just a few weeks ago in the Phoenix area. And so they don't know yet how he got there in the first place, but he did end up stuck. Fire crews had to make that difficult decision that he was just going to have to stay there overnight. I want to bring in our David Chazanoff as we continue to watch this. I know he's on the ground here. He's been speaking with fire crews as well about just how all of this happened. David, I want you to pick this up from kind of where I stopped. He flagged them down and they decided he was just going to have to wait overnight.
Absolutely.
All right, you are watching a live rescue taking place right now. This is anchored coverage from our content partner out of Phoenix, KPNX. We're going to sign off here on your main channel because Charlotte Today is up next, coming up at 11. If you want to continue watching this live rescue off Camelback Mountain, this will be carried on our secondary channel, just to let you know. All right, so we're going to sign off for now. Charlotte Today is up next.
So many people on that helicopter at once, and really just the whole thing about this has been he's in a pretty unique area since he's not actually on a trail here at Echo Canyon Trail. He's just to the side of it, it appears, or at least that's what we are told. So they've really had to navigate this situation from a different lens, maybe an approach that they haven't used in quite some time. I mean, they talked about it earlier, kind of sounding intimidated about it, just the aspect of rock rock climbing, an unusual, very high up area. Obviously you think of having a fear of heights. These are trained professionals though, so they absolutely know what they're doing. But so many crews here on scene this morning. We have Phoenix Police, that is their helicopter, we are told, and we also have Phoenix firefighters and police officers as well. I mean, just anyone and everyone here just to help out in what has been an unusual situation, certainly hoping for the man's health and safety as the situation continues, Allison.
Yeah, David, oftentimes when we see these rescues, they may take, a couple of hours, maybe at the most, oftentimes when we see this, right? But it's not the case all of the time, which is what we are witnessing now. And so Sky 12, again, bringing us this view at the mountaintop here, really zoomed in because this is a remote area of Camelback Mountain. And what we're seeing is this hiker who was stranded now has the helmet, the hoist gear, and the line has dropped now from the chopper. And so the rescue crews, these men who are experts in this, men and women here, are trying to tie him up, make sure he's safe, and then they're going to proceed very cautiously off the mountain here. Now, they're using some of those hand signals here to communicate with the chopper that is flying overhead. And so we're going to see what their move is. This man, okay, there he goes. He's in the air now. He looks to be okay. Crews were telling us he was not hurt. He is now in the air. The chopper has him. He is in the safety gear. He's got his helmet on. He is being taken off the top of Camelback Mountain here. Sky 12 bringing this to you, and we're seeing where he is going to land at this point. And, when you're seeing conditions like this at Camelback Mountain, right, you're just grateful that things are not worse. As we talked to Ginger, we talked to Chris. Ginger, you said those winds pretty much non-existent, thankfully, from Mother Nature here. So that's going to be the best case scenario for these rescue teams.
Well, and certainly with the elevation, anytime you have elevation change, you run that risk of getting the upsloping or downsloping winds. So thankfully, the winds are stable. I mean, the pressure is holding stable. And I mean, this is just such a precarious situation that we are watching unfold live here. I mean, just incredible to see the abilities of these rescue teams, because this looks scary to me, Allison.
Scary situation for sure.
Wow. So yes, Mother Nature, I'd say, is definitely on their side because the atmosphere is very stable. It's the same reason we're seeing above normal conditions during the day, is exactly the same reason we're not seeing any strong winds, which is good from so many different perspectives, from the crews that are on the side of the mountain to the crews that are flying, as Chris had brought up. I mean, we've seen it so many times, especially during big wind events. You can't launch the choppers, because especially when you get closer to any kind of land formation, you could then contend with any of those winds I've mentioned, and that will definitely impact your flight ability.
Okay, well, we are seeing them take off here, the rescue chopper with this stranded hiker. As soon as he was able to get inside of that area, the cabin really of the chopper, he was safe. He looked okay, and the pilot was able to take off. So we're still waiting with Sky 12 to see where they're going to land, and then they'll go back for the rest of the rescue team there to get them off the mountain safely here. But the good news is, so far, this seems like a safe rescue, and it seems like this man who had been stranded for hours since last night in that 8 o'clock hour has now been safely taken off of Camelback Mountain. Thankful to those crews. As Ginger mentioned, these air rescue crews, I got a chance to see what it takes with the DPS Air Rescue Team and the amount of work and training that goes into this just to be able to save residents here in our community, visitors as well, when they come and they find themselves stranded or sometimes hurt. This is just, what they do. They train for this to make sure the best possible outcome, which is part of the reason they decided to wait overnight. They said it's just too dangerous. They want to make sure this man is going to be okay. And so it looks like they're still en route to their final drop destination here, where they're going to take this man. I'm not sure if it's going to be at the base of the mountain here, if it's maybe going to be to one of the hospitals nearby to have him evaluated. That's what we're looking for. But at Chris, at this point, it looks like they're starting to drop him a little bit. It could be kind of scary with all of these houses and residential, this area, which is where Camelback is located.
Yeah, it looks like they're heading back to the main parking lot there at the trailhead. Allison, you pointed out that rugged terrain. You could see that sheer cliff back behind where the helicopter is landing. Top of Camelback Mountain, the very tippy top, is about 2,700 feet above sea level, and Sky Harbor, for example, is about 1,200 feet. So you have a 1,500-foot elevation change just in that short distance. So it is a really steep, a really rugged climb, really difficult. And as one of the first responders said earlier in some of our coverage, it's a very technical portion of this trail and the trailhead. And I believe that was part of the trail that it had been closed since our storms back in October and November. So, a lot of questions still remain why he was up there and why he had been up there since 8 o'clock last night. Hiking in the dark and alone is usually not recommended. Heat, certainly not a factor at this time of the year. But there you can see him being unloaded from the helicopter and taken away on one of those, the 3 wheels, those things that they use for that rugged terrain.
I mean, we're just so grateful to watch this crew, as trained and skilled as they are, to make sure that they can, execute this rescue as safely as possible. It looks like this man is okay. That is the hope. We're going to get confirmation from the fire team, hopefully here pretty soon. We know a lot of them still on the scene here. Also, the information coming from Phoenix Fire has just been really helpful in trying to explain to everybody who's been watching exactly what they're up against here, what they have to do, the kind of training, and first and foremost, because Chris, like you mentioned, the question of how this man got up there, they said, yeah, they will be asking that, but later they want to make sure he's okay first, get him down the mountain safely, and then all of that can come afterward and see, hey, how did you get up there? And, what exactly happened to leave you stranded there at night, in a way that kind of put them in a position where we have to wait, unfortunately, overnight. Now, they did the best. They got him, again, they did the best they could, I should say, using a drone to get him a cell phone, a blanket, some food, some water, to try and make him as comfortable as can be in that very remote area. We talked about the temperatures dropping into the upper 40s, low 50s, which thankfully is not freezing like Ginger mentioned here, but still very cold if you're not prepared for that, to be out there for hours and hours. And so they're making their way down here the mountain with him. It doesn't look like I see any other hikers. They may have closed this area off completely, or it could be part of the trailhead that was closed here. So just trying to get a better lay of the land with Sky 12 as we're kind of getting, blocked off a bit from some of the rocks. That's to be expected in this area here. But very scary situation. It looks like things are ending on a positive note. What we do know is that some of the rescue team is still stuck in that rugged area that you said, the elevation very high.
Yeah, and this rescue team, a well-oiled machine. They are really well versed and very well rehearsed in extractions like this off of Camelback Mountain. There you can see the staging area there in the parking lot. Everybody is kind of waiting for this guy to come up, and they'll ask questions later. But first, they take action and try to do what they can to safely remove this hiker from Camelback Mountain and not put any of the rescue crews at jeopardy. So that's why they had to put it off until this morning, until first light when they launched the chopper. It was I think right after 7 o'clock this morning when the first helicopter went up and to try to ascertain what was going on, what the situation was. As you mentioned, Allison, they did give him blankets, a cell phone, try to communicate with the rescuers, and they probably told him, hey, look, it's going to be after first light until we can get to you because it's just too dangerous. I've flown in some areas around the valley at night, and I can tell you that unlit areas like Camelback Mountain, you cannot see anything. It's like a black hole. So it can be very dangerous to fly around hilly terrain, especially with no lights around at nighttime. So it's just the safest option for them to conduct this rescue operation during the late daylight hours.
Yeah, it's just the most important thing to wait and so that they could do it safely. We are are seeing this hiker now rescued off the top of Camelback Mountain, who had been stranded there since about that 8 o'clock hour last night. He is off the mountain now. You watch that live happen right here with us on 12 News. It looks like he's on some kind of stretcher now, maybe being checked out by some of the medical team here just to make sure he is fully okay. But now that he is on the ground, we do want to get to our David Chazanoff, who's also on the ground right now. He watched this all unfold as well, and even before the chopper launched, as that man was stuck there on the top of the trailhead. Just very scary situation. I mean, at this point, David, it looks like things may have resolved in a safe way. What are you seeing now that this man here is on the ground?
This man is safe. He's being evaluated after 13 hours.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw the rescue happen about 10 minutes ago. Certainly something I've never seen before, right in front of us, in between those two sides of the mountain here. It's been a rapidly developing situation for 13 hours now. I have to come and walk in. I hate to grab you off the spot, but you have been a very busy man for the past hour. So obviously he's okay. Take me through that effort in terms of bringing him safety.
Sure. So it was a little bit of an ordeal for us to get all the members up there, right? Because our helicopter can only hold so many people. So what happened was the helicopter will land at our base LZ. We loaded up a couple of different sections of crews, inserted them using our cable. And I don't know if anybody saw it live, but you can see him drop down on the cable. We approached the patient, make sure everything's clear. Our rescuers then came in. We put a suit on him and then connected him up, hoisted him out, brought him down, and everything's good to go now.
It's amazing considering, how long this took to actually happen, and now, it's all said and done.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things that we wanted to slow down, make sure we did it correctly, because again, he wasn't injured, it wasn't a life-threatening thing, so we want to make sure it's safe for him and safe for us, and this had the best outcome for us.
Absolutely. So where are his whereabouts right now?
So he is right now making his way to the ambulance where we're going to do an evaluation on him, check him out, make sure there's no injuries or anything that we might need to treat him for, and if he does, we can transport him to the hospital.
And it appears that he was complying with commands, when the helicopter was up there?
Absolutely. He's been listening to us. He's been obviously wanting to come down from that mountain. He's been up there a long time, so it took a little bit longer than he probably wanted to, but we finally got him down, and he's safe, so best outcome possible for us.
I know, hiking here in the valley is very common, but for someone like me who just moved here, a 13-hour situation like this, it's kind of unheard of. Where would you compare this in terms of all that you've experienced during your career?
So this is not a typical, when we have to do mountain rescues, it's not normally 13 hours, right? This one was a little bit different. He was in a very difficult location to access. We had to insert people with a helicopter. We found him at night, so that's another thing. It makes the trails and everything else exponentially harder to accompany and figure out. So this was one of those ones. We just took our time, did it correctly, made sure it was the best and safest way.
Yeah, thankfully there's a good result in this and he's okay.
For sure, so yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being with here all morning long. That's Phoenix Fire Captain DJ Lee. Allison, we'll send it back to you.
This has just been incredible to watch unfold right here on 12 News, on 12 Plus. If you have been joining our coverage or you just joined right now, I want to let you know this hours-long ordeal has now seemingly come to an end. A man stuck at the very top of Camelback Mountain in a very remote area last night. Didn't seem to be injured, but at night crews just said they weren't able to get to him safely, and so they flew a drone up. They told him he was going to have to stay there overnight. They gave him water, food, a blanket, and then this morning, as the sun came up, they were able to launch the rescue chopper up there with some of the rescue team. As Sky 12 is zooming out now, can kind of see just the lay of the land here and how big that mountain is. Just wondering now, questions remaining, including how this man was able to get to this area and a trail that is seemingly closed and has been for about a month now, a little bit more than a month since severe storms rolled in through the Phoenix area, loosened some of the boulders there at Camelback, so they closed that down. That will all hopefully be answered in the next couple of days, but thankfully this man has now been rescued safely off of Camelback Mountain. The chopper will head back for the rest of the rescue team. We do appreciate you joining us for this live update for the last hour here with us on 12 Plus. We are going to have continuing coverage of this story here at 1 o'clock on 12 News and 12 Plus. So thank you for joining us for this special coverage. We will see you at 1 o'clock.